Okay, Night Talk's on your television, so am I. More importantly, let's get to tonight's panel of experts when it comes to our holiday survival guide, starting with Audrey Gusky. She's a PhD. You know her, of course, as the consumer marketing analyst here at PCNC. Also, of course, Dr. Gusky as in the marketing director at the Duquesne University. That's right. To my immediate right, we're already to Natalie Bensavenga, LSW. Okay, I never really even know. What's LSW mean now?
A licensed social worker.
I thought so. And she's a relationship expert as well. And, of course, to our far left, the esteemed Leslie Bonsi, who has more initials after her name than I'll ever know what to do with. But she's a dietitian and nutritionist at UPMC for the Stars. All right, here's what we're going to do. We're going to start with the business end of things. And so, Audrey, that means you're going to lead off, all right? And then we'll see how it goes from there. I'm going to confess, and then we'll let you figure out, as the priestess, what I ought to do.
Okay.
I'm starting to hate this, okay? I mean, we are getting to the point where we not only have Christmas basically 2 weeks, 3 weeks ahead of Thanksgiving, but I'm getting hit with Black Friday a week before Black Friday. We've gone nuts.
We have gone nuts. We call it, Alice, Christmas creep. And it's been happening over the past couple years. Every year it gets sooner and sooner, where it's barely Halloween and the Christmas decorations are up.
That's right.
And what's very interesting this year, and sadly, I don't, as a marketer, you'd think I would support this, but I don't. The fact that stores are going to be open on Thanksgiving Day. So we sort of have Brown Thursday, Black Friday, and then we have Cyber Monday. And of course, people are going to be shopping Saturday and Sunday as well. So it's all morphed together into like one big Thanksgiving bonanza as far as shopping goes.
Okay, wait. I never heard of Brown Thursday.
I just made that up.
Oh, that's so awesome. That's why you're at the center.
I coined it. It's famous as of now.
We'll go to the patent office when we're done here.
Turkey's brown and
yeah,
stuff.
right. Plus, I mean, you know, it's a little bit, you know, not before it gets to the Black Friday. All right, now what type of numbers are we looking at? Because, you know, you and I have spent many nights talking about the marketing, and we've talked about the business end of it, and more specifically, people going and responding to the sales opportunities at 5 a.m., like sheeple, as in half sheep, half people.
That's a good one, too.
Yes, it is. And then, of course, then I got the online version of this. What are the numbers? What are you seeing and hearing?
Well, what you're looking at is 88 million people are going to be shopping on Black Friday, 35 million on Thanksgiving Day. So that's quite a chunk of numbers, at least that last year what they did, so we're probably going to even have more. The average person over the Thanksgiving weekend is going to spend $423. That's the average shopper, is a lot of money.
Not me, but go ahead.
And overall, the overall holiday, we're looking at $600 billion being spent. So Christmas, as we all know, the holiday season is the biggest time of the year for retailers, huge. And the predictions are that sales aren't going to be that good. National Retail Federation predicted 3.9% increase. I think barely 3%. Which is average or even less than average. So I think what we're looking at is retailers are afraid. So my advice to shoppers in your big survival guide here today is like Santa. Make a list and check it twice. As a shopper, go out there, know what you want. Use your smartphone, smarter than you, as we've talked about before. And there's all kinds of apps. So it should be appy holidays. Did you get it?
Oh, yeah, very good enough. I'll tell you what, we're breaking new ground here. Elle Bonds, I got to ask you this, okay? I mean, she's the one that's going to tell us how to mentally stay healthy. You got to teach us about how to physically prepare for this. You got kids that are standing out in line for 2 days. They're freezing. They don't have any clothing on. Then, of course, they go in for television sets. I mean, look, you could tell me about how to eat. We're going to get to this later. But honestly, tell me what you think of my opinion about the fact that we're now having wrench companies send emails out saying, you can get our wrenches half off a week before. I mean, it's just broken down entirely.
It is, and quite frankly, it's not that people are necessarily having a physical free-for-all when they're shopping, unless, you know, you're trying to hit somebody else and you get the television. But, you know, it's not, and if people are going to be out all day long, however, is bringing something with you to eat not a bad idea. Number one, then you fuel the brain. So if you're looking for that last television that's there, maybe you have a little bit more smarts to get it before the other person, and then you're not subject to the food court calling your name with all of those things that are bigger than we are, and all of a sudden they end up on your thighs. See, not a good thing.
Okay, wow, that's interesting. This is going to be a wonderful show. All right, so Natalie, help me out here. We're going to talk about how keeping families partially together a little bit later with you, but seriously, you love this stuff. You know, you're of the age where it's all about this, and I understand you can actually now, and consider me an oldster, a blue hair if you want, but that you can actually go out, I can't believe I said that, you can actually go out and you can do part of your shopping shopping here, and it'll be waiting for you within a certain period of time.
Yeah, which is really fascinating. I love, there's this app I've been using a lot called Retail Me Not. I don't know if anybody knows about this. Well, I'm sure you do. But I love it because it tells you where all the deals are going to be, where all the specials are going to be. And for your own mental wellness, your own mental health, I think like what you were saying, it's really important to have a plan. It's really important to have some fuel. All of those things are going to contribute to you not feeling overwhelmed, not feeling anxious, and not feeling, you know, depressed at maybe what you can't afford or what is, the lines are too long for you. So I think the idea is to have a plan, execute your plan, and then get the heck out of there as fast as you can. I think the longer you stay in the mall center, the more it's going to drive you to buy things that, one, you don't need, things that you don't really want, and spend money that you don't really have. Because the worst thing that can happen is come January, you go into a very deep depression because, you know, now you don't have any money because you went a little crazy on your credit cards.
Right. Well, I celebrate Orthodox Christmas, so I get all the leftovers half free, okay? So it works out like that, but that's okay. So you're telling me that there's ways, what's that called, that app again?
Retail Me Not.
Retail Me Not. So that helps keep the anxiety down. Bring fig bars, and that'll help you out in the process. Now back to you. Any fear of backlash? I mean, seriously, am I the only person in America offended by this?
Well, we've been saying Christmas creep for a while, and the fact that Black Friday has really lost its luster because at one point that was the official start of Christmas shopping season. So maybe 3 weeks before Christmas we would start shopping. Well, everybody was okay with that, but the fact that it's really pushed back to the point where it's late October. Do you realize that at this point over 60% of people have started their Christmas shopping?
I do.
It's phenomenal.
I did the night before.
I usually do too.
I'm with you. No, I'm with you.
No, I'm a last minute person too.
Really?
Because, and the cool thing that I find is there's a lot more sales out there at the last minute. Because, I mean, there's sales now and there's a lot of bargains. But because the retail season isn't going to be as strong as we had expected it to be, then there's going to be a lot of things left over. So as you said, Ellis, the fact that your Christmas is a week later is great news for you. But also for those of us who celebrate on December 25th. There's, you know, start shopping December 20th. And believe it or not, Black Friday is not the biggest shopping day of the year. It's the weekend before Christmas.
Is that right?
So December 22nd through the 25th, a lot of people, and they call it Super Saturday, the Saturday right before Christmas.
Okay, Leslie Bonci, MPH, RD, CSSD, and LDN. I have a question for you. As it relates to the very first comment she made, you were shaking your head aggressively as you have throughout, but more particularly when she mentioned about ruining Thanksgiving. Okay, when we can't get together as a family to give thanks because we've got to go buy a television, we're disturbed. Our culture and society are going backwards. Sorry.
Absolutely. There is no doubt about it. As it is, getting families together is a really tough thing to do. And quite frankly, I think it would be pretty darn insulting to the cook who spent all day or days before preparing that turkey, preparing that sumptuous meal. Sorry, love you, gotta go, I'll take a turkey leg on the way out. No, it's just wrong.
No.
The television is still going to be there the next day.
Right. Well, and let me also say, my associates tell me that this is not even the busiest day. It's the week before Christmas. So you know what? You're really dopey if you do that to somebody who cooked. And I do know that if somebody tried to pull that stunt in your three households, they wouldn't get away with it. They would not be allowed out the door. It wouldn't be, sorry, Aunt Leslie, I have to leave right now because I've got to go shopping for a wrench.
No, we already have ropes to tie people to the chair, so it's a good thing.
Yeah, you do what you need to do. Okay.
And I'm sure your meal is so delicious that people don't want to
Well,
leave
I don't know. You know, it depends.
I bet it is. And it's healthy.
We're going to find out in the next segment, all right? Okay. Don't rush it. One last thing. The economy. You said the numbers aren't going to be as good.
Right.
Tell me what that means for the economy. I got 60 ticks.
Well, basically it means that it's not good news for 2013 for retailers and for the entire economy. As we know, the consumers drive the economy, and we haven't been spending through 2013. Back to school shopping was not solid. And so you add all that together, consumer confidence is down, people worry about their health care, etc. And so the retail Christmas season is huge. 50% of profits for retailers come at this time of the year. And I don't think it's going to be there. And I think it's going to be, I mean, about 2 years ago, we had sales decrease over the previous year by 4%. That's never happened. And I think we're borderline. Maybe we'll break even, maybe a little bit like 1, 2, 3%.
Well, let me give you an idea how fast that all went and how much ground we covered, which is exactly what I was hopeful of. I knew we were going to have a free-for-all, and we did. But the good news is we didn't even get to the surveillance that we have, literally video surveillance of retailers surveilling shoppers to see what they like and don't. I'm glad we missed that. We're going to come back and talk about what to eat during the holidays with Leslie Bonci. I'm Ellis Cannon. You're watching Night Talk at PCNC. your Nighthawk Holiday Survival Guide hosted by Ellis Cannon. More importantly, also with Gusky, Bonsi, and Bensavenga. That's the newest law firm in town. Now, let's get to something I lied about, and that is the Retail Next. We've got some videos, I understand it. My associates tell me. What is it? So I'm watching video of people, and look at this. Look at this. Look at the madness. Body heat, where you're going. They're surveilling what you're browsing, what you're looking at. There was a book written by a guy named Orwell, and boy, we've crossed the line. I mean, really, what is this?
Well, I beg to differ on that one, Alice, because the story is, as a marketer, I like the fact that they're watching me in the stores because they know my shopping habits, they know what I'm picking up, they know what I'm buying, and as a result, they can give me coupons while I'm in the store to save some money. I pick up a pair of running shoes, they'll show me a pair of socks that are on sale. I love that. That's fine if they follow me around the store because they know my shopping habits, my patterns, where I'm going. They're going to save me time and money in the marketplace, and that's what I want.
Okay, you're practical, you're a professor, and I got to ask you, LSW, tell me about this. I mean, seriously, people are surveilling you as you walk around. Do you feel comfy with that?
I mean, I take the opposite approach on this. I don't feel comfortable with that. I find it to be a little weird, a little creepy. I've never had anybody in a store come up to me and say, "Oh, you're looking at these shoes. Let me give you these socks on sale." I've never had that experience.
But it would be online. It's an app, so people aren't going to be talking to you. It's just going to be popping up on your phone.
Yeah, God forbid somebody actually talks to the store.
Yeah, that would be. Yeah. God forbid we have an interaction in the store. But, well, having said that, then I think once again, this is sort of the technology overload, and I think some of us sometimes just want to break from that and release from that, and it would be nice to walk around a store without having someone beeping at me or talking to me. Sometimes you just want to look around and you don't want to be necessarily bothered, and I think retailers are looking at this, and I understand their perspective. They're trying to see what are people interested, what do they want, how can we get them what they want, but I think we're missing the bigger picture here, that maybe the reason people aren't spending as much doesn't really have as much to do with what's being sold in the stores and the fact that people aren't making as much with their paychecks. They're not bringing home as much. Like you said, there's other outside factors like healthcare that are weighing heavily on people, and so no matter how many apps or things we have to approach our customers with, maybe that's not the reason that they're not purchasing.
And as we've talked about many times on the show, 70% of the economy is driven by consumer spending, so it is very important. Now, you're welcome to chime in on those thoughts. I find it a little bit weird to follow me around, particularly when I go over to ask somebody to say, I'd like to try a pair of shoes on in the shoe department, and they give me that glazed over look and say, okay, and then I got to ask, for the foot thing. I mean, it's seriously, we're dire. Now, I want to talk a little bit about foods. Why can't I, Leslie Bonsi, be able to have my traditional fat, thick turkey and all that comes with the goblin? What's wrong with that one time a year?
And there's nothing wrong with it, but the problem is that it isn't one time a year.
What?
It's starting at Halloween. That people are eating the little candy turkeys, and then by the time you get to Halloween day, it's the big turkey, and then it's, well, because I've had that, we've got to have the turkey the next day and the turkey that, and then everybody's waddling. This is the issue. I mean, and as a dietitian, is it really right for me to tell somebody how to modify their food? Eat a tofurkey instead? Who wants to eat a tofu turkey? Unless you're a vegan, right? Maybe yes, but otherwise that's not going to happen. But it's like an event. It is a feeding frenzy. Oh my God, it's there. Therefore, because it's on the table, it must be in my mouth. And that's when things get a little dangerous, because truly people do eat themselves into a food coma.
Okay,
and then we continue.
A food coma, my God, this is the best show I've ever been a part of. Food coma. Now, she made an interesting point, and I can't say that I didn't think of it when she said it, and that was the part about how we're creating an event. That's the second time I've heard the word event in 15 minutes. And she talked about it from a business standpoint. You're talking about it from a food standpoint, that basically from Wednesday, we know business shut down in America right around Halloween. As a matter of fact, the more we talk about Halloween, the more I'm starting to hate it. And I already hate it. It's devil worship to begin with, and now the more that I think about it, all we're doing is pointing to it as the day when Christmas starts, and when everything... Candy turkeys. I mean, I never heard of such a thing. All right, so I want to ask you, food coma. You don't look like you've ever had a food coma.
That's because I eat the tofurkey on Thanksgiving instead of the turkey. So I'm the vegan. I'm the token vegan here.
Out. Just get out. Just get her. Call security. Somebody get her out of here. Well, okay. So what's tofu turkey?
Well, I'm joking. I actually make these delicious casseroles, and my mom's here. She can attest to it. But we're making a lot of actually vegan-friendly food for the holidays this season. Like cauliflower casserole and delicious mandarin salad and all these wonderful things. Vegan mashed potatoes. And the thing is, a lot of these things you can kind of sneak into everybody's normal foods, and they're not going to notice that you used vegan butter instead of full-fledged, fat.
Well, I won't notice, Leslie, if I'm able to fill it up with trans fat gravies, all right? Okay, so we talked this a few weeks ago about trans fat, regulations and changes, and we've talked about the impact on the economy. I want to get her thoughts in just a second, but seriously, here's my routine, all right? I want to gobble. Some people don't like to actually like turkey. I mean, I felt the last few years it didn't sit real well with me, okay? Now, I don't blame you for that, or the turkey. But the next day, well, first of all, that night, tradition, of course, is to make a turkey sandwich and fill it up with as much mayo as you can. And then the next day is when you heat up the turkey, and then you pour it in the gravy over bread. Now, they're not going to do this in foo-foo land, but they're going to do it in cannon land. Now, okay, so I'm headed down the wrong path, right?
But first of all, it isn't that you're eating the turkey, and it isn't that you're having the gravy on it. But are we talking plate? Are we talking platter? Are we talking trough? All right. So
trough. Trough. Okay. Plenty of it. Trough. I graze. Okay. I graze on the holidays. I work it off 300 other days of the year.
Yeah.
That's my hope.
Okay. But and truly, most people are not going to have a postage-sized amount of food on Thanksgiving night or the day after. It's not, except those that are going to the mall, and shame on them.
Yeah, right.
Still, it's this constant hand-to-mouth activity that goes on, and that it doesn't stop. Even if you do it for a couple days, but December 1st, hey, still eating, we might as well take this right into Christmas.
I want a GIF, or is it a GIF? Whatever, GIF. I want it made of that. What was that thing that you just did right there? I mean, that was really good. I mean, look, you got to buy turkeys for Thanksgiving, right? I mean, do we know anything about the economy of Thanksgiving and turkeys?
Oh, Thanksgiving, as far as, before we started shopping on Thanksgiving, the holiday meal was huge, and it also is like one of the biggest grocery store days of the year for people trying to supply the family with everything. I like to say we're dishing up some shopping with the turkey this year. So not that I want to encourage people to shop on Thursday, Thanksgiving, but got their Black Friday, Saturday, shop, walk around. To a lot of people, unfortunately, that's the only exercise they get, which isn't good
I'm
news.
enjoying all of your puns, personally. I am.
Yeah, best show ever. This is an Emmy. Congratulations, ladies. I used to celebrate in college before I took the test because I knew I was going to ace it. Not that I had an attitude. I'm telling you right now, you've all won an Emmy. Congratulations. All right, now, so can you order turkeys online?
Well, you can order turkey dinners online because my family, we're not much of cooks, and so we've unfortunately ordered our turkey dinner from the Market District, and we're going to be picking it up. So technically, you can do that.
She answers the phone, Dr. Husky, by the way. All right, so
she's busy.
What should I eat if I'm not? Okay, tell me what I should eat. All right, okay.
Do you really want to hear this?
Yes, I do. I'm holding on. Go right ahead. Go ahead.
All right, so, let's just think about the Thanksgiving meal and what's on the plate. And turkey for most people is going to be front and center because most people don't have a Thanksgiving pork chop. It isn't there. It's usually foul. All right, fine. Then, is there something with color on the plate? Maybe it's going to be yam. Maybe it's going to be a sweet potato. Maybe the sweet potato is sweet enough without necessarily adding the marshmallow, the caramel, the everything else.
I don't do that.
Okay. Is there something red on the plate? Cranberries. Anything? But how about cranberries instead of the stuff that comes out?
The stuff you got to do like this to shake.
Like a slinky in a can. What it is, cranberries are great.
Are they any good?
They are good.
Really?
We actually do them all the time.
Do you mash them up or anything, or just eat them like?
No, well, if you can actually eat them as they are. We can put them in a food processor, a little grated lemon or orange, a little walnut. great. Over arugula, oh, there's some green. On the plate.
So it's color-coded to you.
You know what? I like color on the plate. I'm not good with brown. I mean, brown today.
Well, you're lovely. You're lovely. You're lovely. I look at it, I'm brown. I want gravy on every single thing so you don't know what's underneath it. Okay, I don't like the stuffing along with my mashed potato. To me, that's a little too carb-heavy. So I'm going to go one or the other. I'm going to go...
That's where you draw the line.
Oh, absolutely. Doggone it, I know where I'm going to fight this fight. And so I'm going to have a little bit of baked potato, not baked potato, mashed potato. I'm going to have white meat, turkey, maybe dark meat. Either way, I know dark meat's bad for you, but that's okay. And then I'm going to have corn, and I'm going to have some cranberry, the stuff that you did that to, and salad. I mean, come on. If I separate it, I mean, that's not the worst.
Don't forget the pumpkin pie.
Oh, God almighty.
Right, okay. But there's nothing wrong with that. Yes,
right.
Okay. And even there, when it comes to the pumpkin pie, now I'll tell you what the Bonsi household is doing this year, because they don't know that yet. But
tell me it's not a brown pumpkin pie.
No. We're going to do pumpkin shots, is what we're doing. So we're actually, it's a deconstructed pumpkin pie, so it's the pumpkin, but we're putting a little bit of the ginger snap crust on the top and served in little cups.
Nice. Oh, I bet it's going to be beautiful.
This, I'm coming to your house.
No, you're not.
Well, no, please, come on. I mean, I'll pay. I'll pay. Come on. I mean,
but you know what we do after Thanksgiving in our house is everybody has to go for a walk.
Is that right?
That's the way to do it.
Everybody's
Let's take like a legitimate walk. What time do you serve? What time do you serve?
We eat 7:30.
Oh, that late
Are
at
you
night?
serious?
And then you walk afterwards? Ooh, good for you.
My. I mean, we serve at 2 to 3. What about you?
Well, there's a turkey trot, so if anybody wants to run, it's downtown. Well, it's the Y now, but it's moved to...
So you want me to vomit up the turkey I just ate?
No, this is before you do it. You run, and I run it every year. There's a 5K, and then there's a 10K. And everybody says, well, the reason I'm here is because I can eat as much as I want.
Well,
you know, so it's our excuse.
Yeah, that works.
Very good. Quickly, what time do you guys serve?
We start drinking around 2. A little champagne while we're having some appetizers, and then the food really starts around 4:30. But I like to do yoga in the morning, so that counterbalances it.
Yeah. You know, you talk about your mother. Obviously, you spend a lot of time with my mother. That's all I gotta say when it comes to champagne in the morning.
Come on, you gotta toast. It's a party.
All right, now we're going to talk about if you survive the first 2 steps. We're going to give you the key on how to survive the last. We'll get to that in just a little bit. I think I actually have a funny piece to come up, in which I will opine about Thanksgiving, as if it hasn't been funny enough already. Okay, America, we're going to put aside the All-Stars for just a moment. No troughs, no grazing. They're just going to relax for a few minutes here while I opine just for a second as it relates to our holiday survival guide. When I was a kid, Thanksgiving was the greatest. I mean, you know, you got all the big tables, and then you put them together. Your family came in. It was just a great gathering, and ultimately what you did was watch every football game, and it was the biggest deal of the year. And then at Christmas, of course, it was always just as fun. It carried on. It was a great celebration. And whatever your faith may be or background, these are all really special moments when you get your family together. With that having been said, we've got some photographs of what's become in the last few decades of this very precious time. These people are crazy. What they're doing is they're attacking each other for product, for material, for savings, okay? They're hustling and bustling. And here's another sign of people who've gone cray-cray. What they're doing right now is seeking the best stereo system they can while banging each other over the heads to get them. Ultimately, what happens? Well, this is America today, 2013. We fight each other. We fight each other over products, material goods, all the things that we should not be thinking about to give thanks for on that particular day. But then we move forward and see the end result, which, of course, is the person who's not in a food coma, but a real coma. And that's because that person likely got the hell beat out of them. So that's what happens in today's world when we fight each other just to be able to get something. Now, having said all that, you do have a traditional view. And there is maybe this in my head that I can't get out of my mind, but it is a traditionally Oh, God. Oh, wait a minute. Someone took a photograph of my house. Somebody actually went in. This is the anti-Bonsi photograph right here. There's not enough color. There's mish, there's mash. I mean, that right there, seriously, is enough to even make me sick. Where's the photograph, the image that shows a happy family? Why can't we all be together with Grandma and Grandpap and the kids dressed appropriately and pass the beats? I guess I'm old and out of style. We're going to come back and talk to a new school. Oh, I forgot that one. Go back, go back, go back. Because at the end of the day, this is what happens. This is what happens at the Pennsylvania house after they started drinking early in the morning. It turns into total chaos at the end, and she's going to tell us momentarily how to avoid all of that. My blow. We'll be back in 2. Welcome back to Night Talk. If you're just joining us, this is a great show. As a matter of fact, all the shows we do are great, but this one's really special. It's a holiday survival guide, and we have Audrey Gusky, Leslie Bonsi, Natalie Bensavenga. They're all specialists. All right, now, Natalie, let's turn to you. We've talked about the idea of the business end of this, which is overshadowing everything. And it starts, well, at Halloween. And then we talked about the food part of it, which deteriorates around Halloween. And then we've talked about alternatives to that. And now you're here to present us with ideas on how to keep relationships alive through the holidays. Let's face it. There's moving, there's money, there's individual, interpersonal relationships, and then there's the anxiety over the holidays. People go insane. How do we avoid this?
Well, I thought those photos were actually really interesting, showing people, showing what people are doing to each other to get these products, right? So we've become very much like a consumerist society, and we all are aware of that. But I think what's interesting psychologically about that is, what is it we are trying to fill? What's the void we're trying to fill? Why are those people obsessively going out at those hours to find toys for their children or for their partners or for their family members? Where is that guilt coming from? Because let's be honest, that's all guilt energy. That fighting, that anger, that's a lot of guilt. So what are we guilty of? Are we guilty of just not spending the quality time with one another, maybe having those moments, because everything is about filling the void with stuff? And obviously, you know, I live in the United States. I like pretty things. I'm not for a second going to pretend that I don't. But I think when we take it to that next level of, instead of giving our children and our families what they need, which is just us, we're trying to always give them things, there's always going to be that tension. So I think this year, you know, I know you were talking about how consumer spending is down, and I think for a lot of reasons, you know, one being that people just maybe don't have the money in their pockets like they used to. So maybe accept that. Maybe just accept where you're at, and instead of rushing out on Thanksgiving morning to try to get these, you know, Brown Thursday deals, maybe instead spend that morning watching the parade on television with your kids, drinking, you know, hot tea instead.
Yeah, right. You can make Santa Claus look great if you want to. All right, now I want to get to you on this, Leslie, because here's the deal. She basically said we hate ourselves, and as a result of us hating, not each other, we know that, but we hate ourselves and how we operate as human beings relative to other people important to us, so therefore we attempt to make it up with a giant television. Does that sound sane?
But you know what? But rather than have to do that necessarily, or I have to provide, one of the things that families aren't providing is that quality time with each other, and what better place to do that than the kitchen?
I was thinking the mall, but go ahead.
Everybody, be quiet. It's my turn. So then give everybody the time to say, hey, you know, you all have something you're going to do, so somebody can help make the gravy, and somebody can do this. And you know, the sharing of food is more than just a hand-to-mouth activity. It's the dialogue that happens. I mean, I remember when my mother-in-law was alive, she taught our sons how to make bread by putting her hands over theirs to roll the bread. I mean, that's what a wonderful thing that is. But those types of things are things that stay with people forever. And so you don't have to pay a lot of money for that. You know what? Flour and yeast is a hell of a lot less expensive than a 54-inch screen TV.
You know, I will say this, Leslie. That's a very good point. We're saying the same thing. I'm just saying with a sharper edge, okay? So
I can do that too, but I'm being nice to you.
Yeah, I know. You tell me to shut up. All right, now back to you, okay? Because she brings an interesting point up about us basically hating her. The self-hatred aspect I never thought about. My son says the other day, 14, okay, I don't know whether it doesn't come from me. No, I'd like to think it does. He says, I realize that Christmas is about us spending time, having the fireplace on, and all being together. Wow. That's the most important thing. You don't have to go and do much for us this year. Not that there was much alternative. But that having been said, I thought that was a pretty good deal. Now, now that's not good in your department because we want those kids to go out to buy the $500 tennis shoes.
Well, it depends on what department I'm in. I mean, as Audrey Gusky, the marketer, a lot of times, we encourage people to shop and at least keep the economy going. But as Audrey Gusky, the mom, the grandma, the conservative Republican, the Duquesne professor, the fact that if we go out of our way to spend and overdo it, and as we had said earlier, you don't want to come in January, February with all these bills. My advice to shoppers is, go out there, spend time with your family. Maybe make them something or get a little token gift. You don't have to pay $100, $500 for a TV. You can literally just get a cute little something that means something to somebody, that is representative of your love for them, because that's what gift giving is supposed to be. It's just supposed to be a small token. And the whole spirit of Christmas, as we know, is the Lord and being together with family and loved ones and spirituality. And that's the way it should be.
All right, let me ask you this. I want to ask you about a personal practice that I've done now. You know that we can go see Santa, and the particular mall that is near us has Santa Claus. Not like the Santa Con conventions that are around the country in 300 cities, but real Santa. And the boys have gone their entire lives. The last 2 or 3 years, they didn't want to go anymore. I bribed them. I give them $20 a piece so we can continue the photographs. And ultimately, the idea is that we're going to do it with, them when they're 27 years old. Am I sick?
Yes.
Oh, really? I'm sick. So I get yelled at and I'm sick. Whenever you want to say something bad, just go right ahead.
Well, I think this is a typical thing of any parent, right? You want to create these lasting memories with your children, but your boys are getting older now, so maybe in the upcoming years you do something different. You can still be within the holiday spirit. Maybe you go to the Phipps, the flower show, and you take pictures in front of the beautiful tree, and you can put that on your Christmas card. Or you can do something, kind of silly and funny, like find a cutout Santa and have them stand with that. That could be kind of humorous and put that on your Christmas card. But I think every parent wants to create those lasting memories with their children. But when you have teenage boys,
I want them to be 27. I want them to come home just for the picture.
When my daughter was a student at Duquesne, Santa comes to Duquesne, and we both sat on his lap. So you still have hope, Ellen.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah, I mean, look, Leslie, I understand that maybe it's a little bizarre, but I do it anyways. So let me get away before I forget. So how do we, if there's all this tension, you're talking about this self-loathing, and then we're talking about materialism. You had the line of the day. Well, you had about 12 lines. You've all had 12 lines in the Emmy-winning award show here, and one was what? Love is cheap or something like that. It's less expensive than TV. You don't even remember now. That's because you were doing all this. All right. So to you, I mean, how do we avoid not killing each other and get around the table? Because she's right. Being around the table is critical stuff.
Well, I think there are topics we can all agree to avoid, right? Especially if there is, some wine involved or some drinking, and let's not talk politics. Let's just get that off the table, okay? Because that's just a bad idea.
No Obamacare.
None of it.
Okay.
So, and let's not talk religion. More and more people, especially the younger generations coming up, they have different viewpoints on the holidays, on the family prayer time, on all of this stuff. If everybody's in congruence with that, that's great. But this isn't the time to try to, save people at the table. Let's just all enjoy the meal and talk about things. We can talk about interesting. There's so many topics that you can discuss, things that are going on in the world, different issues. But let's try to keep it on more of a humanistic end of things, and let's sort of avoid the topics that, when the in-laws are over, or when the new girlfriend or boyfriend of your sibling is coming to dinner and and she's a practicing Wiccan, it's like, this is not the time.
No, believe me, there ain't gonna ever be time for that, Leslie Bonzi. And then one of my sons has started the other day with the idea that he doesn't want to get that haircut. It looks like a light bulb. They've had them now every single time they've gone their entire lives. Now they want to style their hair.
Yeah.
Well, you know what? They're gonna style it like a light bulb. Now, all right, no wait, she just freaked me out. I don't know what she talked about being like a human being. Okay, that doesn't work for me. I mean, how can I talk about American foreign policy or things we do on Night Talk every night? How can you possibly have... How can you give thanks without giving thanks to something? And how can you have Christmas without identifying something that basically gave birth to the holiday? How can I do that? Maybe I should ask her.
All right, so maybe one of the things to do is even around the table, whether it's what is everybody thankful for this year, or even something funny. What's something funny that happened to you maybe in the past week or so? Everybody has a story about something. It probably isn't going to be politics, not funny. It's not going to be healthcare, not funny at all. And nobody wants to talk about their food because they're eating eating it, for God's sake. So, I mean, just something else that breaks the ice, and then you have dialogue going without having to have an agenda.
So if you want to go to, you give thanks in the morning and you have the opportunity to go to church or mass or you go to the temple, whatever you do, you could do that there. You're saying relax when you get home.
Yeah, you know, you could make these great little card games where everybody can write a question that they've always wanted to ask people, and then you pass them around the table and then people can read them. Like those are fun little things to do that you can do before dinner. Everybody gets a little place card with something that they can write. You know, just little things that you can do to sort of, like you said, break the ice, keep things lively and entertaining.
How do you know this stuff? I mean, how do you know
come
this
on,
stuff?
I'm the expert.
LSW.
That's why I'm here.
All right, that's exactly right. She is. But at the end of the day, it's about football. So assuming that you survive the food coma, you're going to watch television, and we're going to have the Lions host a game, and we're going to have America's team host a game later, and all that comes with that. And then through the holidays, again, we're going to see all this play out.
Right.
Assuming you survive all this, we're watching tremendous investment by the American industries and corporations into commercials because they know we're sitting there half alive and with food drippings coming out of our mouths. She's telling me I need a break. I mean, that's part of the holiday, though, right?
Right. Well, you know, what you've got is the retailers are desperate this holiday season. So there's going to be a lot of advertising, a lot of promotions, and as I had said earlier, only buy things on sale. You can do that.
Right.
Use your phones to get smart and, you know, just take advantage of all the discounts and coupons.
All right. There's a lot of opportunities. Okay, we're going to come back. I have no idea what's next, but I know it's a holiday survival guide. I'll be told in 2 minutes what to do. That's how it works. The Bonsi house. Pumpkin shots. Wow. Let's go to Leslie Bonsi on this one. She stayed overnight outside the studios in order to be here early, all day long, to be here for tonight's show. So we definitely want to thank her very much for that. And it's just that type of zeal that makes this show so passionate and enriching as a survival guide for the holidays. I can't believe I said all that with a straight face. However, I want to go to you, Leslie, in a relatively short segment. We've talked about the accumulation and distribution of food internally. You have an external distribution issue you want to talk about.
I think that it's really important. When we use the word Thanksgiving, is it thanks for giving or thanks for giving, you know, forgiving ourselves for maybe things we didn't do, but also for giving on? And who is making a Thanksgiving meal where they don't have extra? There's always extra, and there's a hell of a lot of people out there who have absolutely nothing. So whether it is inviting somebody to a family gathering, that could be an interesting dynamic in and of itself, or whether it's when we're done with that meal, you know, before our behinds are on the chair, locked into football, is maybe there's some place that we can take some of that food. It's a feel-good, but it's also important. We've all had our fill, and there's a lot of people out there who have absolutely nothing.
That's a great thought. And you know, the way you emphasize Thanksgiving in ways I hadn't thought about it before will keep me up at night. This idea, though, of putting out the food and giving some type of thanks in a very unique type of way, that is something that is personally satisfying to the extent you allow it to be. I think of that as more a service, though, and not necessarily something you're supposed to because a calendar says that. But it is a great time of year to emphasize it, right?
Yeah, absolutely. And, you know, I think we do get swept up by the consumerism and the fact that people are spending the holidays. But that's what the holidays are about. They should be about family and spirituality and, you know, maybe, you know, giving back and doing things for others is the best thing. And that way it gets us out of ourselves. We're not spending as much money. And in reality, everybody's happy. The stress that we experience during the holidays is unbelievable. And we're putting it on ourselves, and we shouldn't do that.
That's why I avoid them. I want to ask you about this, though. From a mental standpoint, isn't it true that really you do actually gain more by giving than receiving? Very broad, 30,000-foot question, but isn't that generally in the ballpark?
Oh, absolutely. I think when you give of yourself, you can't help but feel good about that giving. I mean, I know every Thanksgiving growing up, my mom, when I was in college, we would take in whatever kids didn't have the opportunity to go home for the holidays. So we used to call our house the Little UN because we had like friends from all over the world that would come and spend Thanksgiving with us, and it was so much fun. It was so exciting. I'm so glad I had that experience, you know, growing up, because it really opens your mind and opens your world to the ways that other people live, the way that other people do their holidays. And in the work I do with the children I work with, and the therapy I do, I see how so many different homes celebrate the season and celebrate the holidays, and how little a lot of these homes have, and how at the end of the day, it doesn't seem to matter or faze them, and it's always really humbling to sort of experience that and understand that, okay, this really doesn't have anything to do with how many side dishes we have this year. It's about love, about being together.
I've got 45 ticks. You really raised a scenario I hadn't thought about in probably 40 years, and I'm dead serious now. My parents used to do that. They would bring somebody over for Thanksgiving that was, and I hate to say it, apropos to nothing. In other words, you know, it wasn't like we expected them or that anything particular had happened. And frankly, they did it more than once a year. And it added a totally different vibe to the whole. Again, it's not a ritual then. I don't want to just do a rituals are important. I understand that, but I think it's really important to understand the essence of them as well. That's a good way to do it.
Absolutely. And we have somebody joining us this year who we've not met before. He may say after this is, oh my God, why did I say yes? But nonetheless, it is a wonderful thing. It really is.
Well, Leslie, I have to go now, but I think it's perfectly appropriate for you to tell your family that it's Uncle E who's showing up. Okay?
I think we're all going to be there.
Yeah,
if you don't mind.
Absolutely, come on.
I want those pumpkin shots.
Delicious to me. All right, whatever's left of my career is going to unfold in the next 2 minutes. So come on back. I have no idea where we're going. Okay, last 2 minutes of our holiday survival guide has been obviously a thrill. We've enjoyed every moment of it. Let's start with you, Audrey Gusky. What are you working on? What are you thinking about?
Well, if people want more information about how to save money in the holidays or tips on surviving anything, check out my website, draudreyguski.com. And I always have to say, good night, Jake and Luke, my little grandsons.
Yes, you do that so eloquently.
They always wait up for me, you know.
Do you answer Dr. Gusky when they call? Okay.
They call me Augie.
Oh, they call you Augie. Okay, what's on your mind?
You know what? I am really looking forward to Thanksgiving, spending some time with family, and then having another Thanksgiving in Austin, Texas with our younger son and my sister-in-law who's not doing that well. It's going to be a great time for us all to be together.
That's great. What about yourself?
I like to think of this time as sort of a place for reflection and wishing other people well and having that mindset of abundance, because we all do have so much, and I just love the idea of mentally giving back and putting out good energy and good vibes. I think we all did that a little more and we're a little kinder to ourselves. The holiday season would be that much better.
And try to get rid of self-loathing.
Yes.
Okay, I have 30 seconds to go. Seriously, I had probably more fun doing this show than, well, since last night, but I really did. I loved it. This was great. It was fantastic, and hopefully you'll have a chance to see it again over the holidays. It applies all through. So in the meantime, I'd like to tell you, now that they so eloquently told you what's important to them, I'd like to share with you an image of what's important to me. Have a great holiday season. God bless. Thank you all for being there, and thank you so much for Audrey and Leslie and Natalie. Wonderful night. God bless.